Good morning. Let's go ahead and just adjust our resistance down really low as we warm up. And keep the leg speed nice and slow. Just bringing some warmth and looseness and fluidity to the legs right now. Feel free to just let your arms hang to the side like this. Let your arms fall down to the ground. Let the weight of gravity just pull your arms down. And then let your shoulders just relax. And let your belly relax. And maybe take a couple nice deep breaths. Stretch a little bit if you need to. And when you're ready, let's return to our handlebars. Adjust the resistance if you need to. Just keep it really, really low, but not off. Have at least a tiny bit of resistance on the wheel. And now, as we set our hands onto the handlebars, I'd like for you to just relax your hands, maybe tap your fingers, notice that the weight of your hands is on the heel of the hand. And now we can tune into our elbows and shoulders a little bit just to make sure that they're not locked out. And then finally, let's put our mind to the neck and the rest of the spine. Just make sure that they're in alignment and neutral. And then the end result of that, hopefully, is that we just have a nice gaze out in that direction. I always think about a 5 to 10 foot gaze, just right out in there for a good cycling position. That lets me know that I'm in a good position. Keeping your resistance really light. Let's just come up to 90 RPM or so. And we'll work on keeping our pedal stroke really fluid right now. And we can do that by settling the hips and then stitching together the full circle pedal stroke versus just stomping down with our quads. We can feel the movement in the lower back and the hips. We can absolutely tell, even with this light resistance. And now maybe take a couple of deep breaths to help relax the body and stimulate that parasympathetic response in the body. Let's speed up our pedal stroke now a little bit and match the rhythm of the song. It's just over 90 RPM or so. You see, I'm sitting up. I like this as a practice. I like this because it forces me to think about creating that nice, smooth, supple pedal stroke using only my lower body. One, and 2, and 3, and 4. Reaching down now, we're going to add just a tiny bit of resistance. Just enough that you just barely feel it. So go ahead and do that now. Absolutely not even close to discomfort in the muscles of the legs. Not close to feeling like we're working hard at all. This is just adding in work little by little. And stay with the rhythm. Maybe count it in your head like I'm doing. And just paying attention to all those parts of the body that we can use as our home when the mind starts to wander. Nice and smooth pedal strokes. Always thinking about that stitching together. Now just slow your legs down. Slow them down for a second. Let's sit up together. And again, drop your arms and your shoulders. Just let the weight of your shoulders and your arms pull down. Feel that stretch in the neck right there as you let your arms hang to the side. Be aware of the movement happening from the legs and hips downward. Let's return to our handlebars and allow your legs to just find this rhythm. I'm setting my left leg down on the beat. Sometimes helps to just close your eyes, not thinking, just letting your legs find the rhythm on their own. It'll happen. Let's reach down and let's add in some resistance that feels mildly challenging at this pedal speed. You could hold it, I don't know, 20 minutes, something like that. Maybe even more, but it's that first moment when you feel like my muscles are doing some work now. it's at this point that sense of scraping mud through the bottom part of the pedal stroke, using your calves and your hamstrings to slightly pull through at the bottom, that becomes noticeable. So see if you can pay attention to that for just a few pedal strokes. And also at this point, you should be able to notice that the lower back and the glutes, the hips, are pushing you ever so slightly over the top of the pedal stroke. Think about that force going through the heel of your foot. And you may notice at this moment that your breath is picking up. I just noticed that myself. My breath is absolutely picking up a little bit. Somehow or another, my right foot is now coming down on the beat. Either the music paused and picked up one beat off, or I lost it for a moment. I probably lost it for a moment. Let's notice what our bodies are doing. Heart rate picking up, breath picking up. Now we're going to take this resistance up to about 100 RPM. And as we do that, keep your hips stable on the saddle, keep the upper body relaxed. In 3, 2, 1. Come on up to around 100 RPM. Calm, peaceful upper body. Keep your belly relaxed. Just breathe in as you stitch these together. Feel the effort in the muscles happening now. Scrape the mud through the bottom. In 3, 2, and 1. Let's come back down to the rhythm of the song. Same resistance. My breath has increased by maybe 30% from that. Returning to the handlebars again if you sat up like I did. Let's bring in just a little more pedal speed now. If you have a computer on your bike, target 90 RPM with the resistance you currently have on. And all of us, let's just feel how this is in the legs. Think to yourself, how long could I hold this if I absolutely had to? Notice what's happening with the breathing and the heart rate. I can feel the warmth in the legs now. Breathing is up, starting to sweat a little bit. This is perfect. Just like a steady effort on a flat road. It's a perfect time for us to now just close the eyes if that's comfortable for you. Focus on your breathing, focus on those pedal strokes one after another, stitching them together. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears, the hands light on the bars, fingers loose, all of that. And when your mind wanders, which it will do, almost always, to something in the future or something in the past that causes the stress. When that happens, simply notice the thought and then return to stitching together the circles. Just let it go. Don't blame yourself for overthinking. Just notice the thought. Let it drift away. You can probably hear my breathing is picking up now. This is becoming a bit of a challenge to me. If it's not for you, add a little resistance. If this is extremely hard to you, take a little out. Slowly but surely, bring the heart rate up. And we can use our breathing as an indicator of the heart rate. You probably notice I move my hands around quite a bit on the handlebars. I just find different positions. But it's always with bent elbows, always with shoulders away from the ears. I almost never use these down here. I don't know why. I could, but this is my natural riding position, just like this. How's your spine doing? Is your neck aligned with the spine? Keep that gaze right out in front of you. All right, let's dial our resistance down way low. Slow your legs. Let's just tune in quickly to how we feel. Notice how warm the body is. Mine's very warm now. legs feel awake. When you're ready, let's return to our handlebars. Just feel your weight settled into the saddle. We're going to push it now a little bit. I'm going to have us accelerate up to 100 RPM, and we're going to add a little bit of resistance right before we do that. So it's going to feel like we're moving very quickly on a flat road, an effort we couldn't hold more than 2 to 3 minutes. That's how I want this to feel. 100 RPM, resistance that makes it feel like you couldn't hold it for 2 to 3 minutes. All right? We won't hold it that long, I promise. But let's get into that zone in 3, and 2, and 1. Add the resistance, come up to 100 RPM. Now ask yourself, if I had to, could I hold this 2 to 3 minutes? I would want you to be able to hold it maybe a minute and a half with some certainty. 2 to 3 becomes questionable. That's the range we're in right now. Notice how relaxed my upper body stays. Notice my hands are still light on the handlebars. Notice that the pedal stroke is still being driven from the hips down. Belly's relaxed to breathe. Slow your legs down, reduce that resistance. Gather your breath for a second. How'd that feel? On a scale of 1 to 10 of out of breathness, where do you put your breath right now? 1 being you just woke up, 10 being you're completely, totally out of breath. I'm at about 7, I would say, from that. You ready for another one? It's all about body feel. It's all about tuning into how the muscles are working. In 3, and 2, and 1. Add the resistance, come up to 100 RPM again. And then go through that series of questions in your mind. How long could I hold this? If I absolutely had to. Are you feeling the pull through the bottom of the pedal stroke with the calves and the hamstrings? Driving through the top with your hips and glutes. All right, reduce your resistance down and hold the pedal RPM about 85. So we're not going to allow the heart rate to come all the way down. We're still at a working level now. Just keeping the resistance light, keeping the work on a little bit. Go ahead and take some water as you're doing this. Allow your legs to accelerate up. To the rhythm of this song right here. And you notice I'm sitting up. As I said, I like to do this because it really reinforces the idea that the pedal stroke's coming from the lower body. It helps me think about synchronizing and stitching together that circle. Closing the eyes, feeling your legs on the rhythm of the song. If you can't feel this rhythm, it's a little tricky. Just follow my leg speed right here. So we're going to add in resistance as we hold this leg speed that we feel we couldn't hold for 1 minute. Couldn't hold it for 1 minute. Extreme high output from the muscles of our legs at this rhythm. We'll only hold it 15 or 20 seconds and we'll reduce the resistance, come back to this lighter resistance, and stay at the rhythm the whole time. So take a deep breath, add some relaxation and add some stress reduction to your upper body. In 3, in 2, and 1. Add the resistance. You couldn't hold a minute. Hold this rhythm. You may want to, or you may feel your face grimacing at this. This is heavy and hard. In 2, and 1. Bring it back down to that light resistance we had. Stay at the rhythm. Let's together just pay attention to the effect that had on our bodies, what it did to our breathing or our heart rate monitor if you have one of those. Notice the effect on your heart rate. Let's do one more. In 3, and 2, 1. Add the resistance you couldn't hold for a minute. Settle your body down and really feel those hips pushing over the top this time. And dial it back to the lighter resistance we had. Stay at the rhythm. My breathing is very high right now. I'd say 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. So do the same for yourself. Assess your breathing. Now let's slow the legs down. Allow your heart rate to recover a little bit. So we haven't done much climbing today yet, so we're going to do a little climbing, some mindful climbing. And let's just remind ourselves, in a Revo Cycle class, seated climbing is at a resistance it's very difficult to turn over. It's like you've actually entered a very steep hill and you're having a hard time turning the pedals. That's climbing. And then we add even more resistance when we stand up. And when we stand on that kind of heavy resistance, it feels like we couldn't do that for a minute to 2 minutes. That's how hard it is. That may be new to you, but that's how it feels to climb on a bike. And that's what we want. We want to give cycling type efforts that, get us fit for sure, but they require focus and intention and digging deep. Are you ready to begin the climb? Let's settle into our bars, add some resistance, and slow your legs to around 60 to 70 RPM. Somewhere in there that feels comfortable to you. I want you to check on this one little thing. If you're actually climbing in the saddle now, you're absolutely feeling the lower back and the glutes having to push over the top through the heel of the foot. And we can help our pedal stroke by pulling more consciously through the bottom of the pedal stroke, scraping that mud off the ball of the foot. That's the bottom of the pedal stroke, and that's the top of the pedal stroke. Hips, calves, and hamstrings. In between, it's the quads, right? So let's make use of all of our muscles. I'm sweating more. My legs hurt. I love this. This is when I get to decide to stay with it. Alright, let's stand up. Before we do, remember, add heavy resistance that you really couldn't pedal in the seated position anymore. That's why you stand up. In 3, 2, and 1. Add that in. Drive your weight through the glutes while you keep your hands nice and light. Let's come back to seated climbing, even though our heart rates are really high. One of the beautiful things about climbing is we're moving slowly. And we're incredibly focused on the moment. We never look at the top of the hill. We just look at the next 5-10 feet. And we decide with every pedal stroke to keep going. let's bring it back down to light resistance. You can hear my breathing, I know you can. Eight or 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. That's what climbing does to you. That's why climbing is so good for you. Physically, it's a very difficult challenge, but also mentally. It's a wonderful challenge to commit to getting up the hill, to commit to every single pedal stroke even though the legs are hurting, even though your heart rate is high. And then finally, it's a commitment to being in the moment, to not looking at the top of the hill, but just the next few feet, maybe with that nice yellow or white line as your focal point, just ahead of you as you're on the side of the road. Even if you're not an outside rider, you can imagine that. That's what I imagine. On the indoor bike, when I'm climbing a hill, I just imagine that yellow line in one of my favorite climbs up in the hills here. That's all I have. My breath, my pedal stroke, and that yellow line. Just winding my way up. It's beautiful. All right, let's do one more hard effort, shall we? We're going to do an all-out sprint. And let's define a sprint. A sprint is a high cadence, high resistance, 100% effort that we would not be able to withstand continue for more than 45 seconds or so. That is the definition of a sprint. So that's the feeling we're going to go for. We won't do it for 45 seconds. We'll do it for about 20. But I want you to get that feeling of giving it all you got, and at the same time relaxing the upper body and breathing from a relaxed belly. It's a beautiful combination of high power output, smoothness, and calmness. Okay, let's get into position on the bike. Quick check with the hands, elbows, shoulders, spine, neck. Everything's relaxed. Up to around 100 RPM with heavy resistance in 3 and 2 and 1. Add the resistance, full out sprint, 20 seconds right here. Feel free to watch my upper body. It stays very relaxed. In 2 and 1. Reduce your resistance way down, slow your legs. Time to recover. Time to recover and cool down. All we're trying to do right now is allow our heart rate to slow and our breathing to come back towards normal. So we have light resistance and we're turning the legs slowly. And now is an absolutely perfect time to notice your emotional state, your mental state. How you feeling? Certainly you can feel a sense of accomplishment now. Maybe you feel a sense of stress reduction. Maybe a little bit of happiness. That would be good. See if you can feel that. And let's slow the legs down even more. If you can, take out a little more resistance. Keep paying attention to your body. Slowly but surely let our legs come to a stop. And when we do, see if you can tune into the feeling of kind of tinkliness and warmth in the muscles. And notice how weird it feels. Be sitting still. It's quieter. All this is good to pay attention to. These are all intrinsic things. And if we tune into those, we can use them to help build a lifetime of exercise. All right, let's rise up. We spent a lot of time in the saddle today. Your sit bones might be a little sore. Let's come up to 3 and 9 o'clock with our feet and just drop the heels. Feel that stretch in the calves. Now rotate around, back foot to the front, and again drop your heels. Let's swing a leg off the bike. And standing next to the bike, pull back on one of your ankles. And just feel that nice stretch in the quadriceps. Now let's switch to the other leg, pull back on the ankle, stretching the quadriceps. Always breathing from a relaxed belly still. All right, I'm going to leave it to you to stretch your hamstrings. You can use the handlebars or the seat, or you can use the top bar of the bike. Hold each stretch for 20 to 30 seconds, breathing, steady, no bouncing. And I'll leave the music on. Enjoy.